And maybe we don't know, where we want to put this thing. Like we don't know how long this list is. There's another way to add things into a list. So like we got lucky here because there was going to be just 3 items, so the 2 worked. But what if I put 6 in here? This isn't going to work. You'll see the error actually tells you the index is out of range. You simply can't do that. So if you wanted to keep adding things onto a list, it'd be a little hard to do it this way because you would lose track of what number you're supposed to be putting in here basically, and you're going to get errors. A simpler and probably better way to do this is to simply take the name of the list, so in this case stuff, and just say dot append. Okay, this is another function using the dot style that we've seen in the past, and basically you just put in whatever you want to. So this time I'll put in like maybe Bing or something like that, like Google Bing. Nobody uses Bing seriously, I don't think. All right, so I'm going to run this here, and you'll see that it gets added onto the end of this list up here just as we wanted it to. And this is honestly the most common thing you're going to see in programming. Usually you're not like re-editing stuff in the lists. I mean, sometimes you are if you're doing editing purposes, but usually if it's like messages or something that you're building up in a database, you're just appending things onto a long list. And the way to do it is to just use the dot append approach. And this is the most common thing I've seen in other languages as well. So definitely something you'll see later on, even if you don't use Python in the future. All right, so moving on here. I just wanted to show, since this is also in the text here, let's make a quick another list, maybe like stuff 2 or something. No, that's lame. Let's actually go with lame. And what's lame? I don't know. Homework is kind of lame. Grades kind of lame. And then I don't know. I don't think I could spell bourgeoisie without some sort of text help or something like that. So we'll just leave it at that actually. And then I'm going to save this. And if I go down here and I hit plus lame like this, just showing you can actually add lists together. And you'll notice that this list lame, like between the homework and grades, gets added on after that true there, which is pretty neat. Just showing you that you can add lists. You can just make them. You can make them a lot bigger, a lot faster than you might be aware. All right. So in addition to that, let's actually use this thing as an example right here, since we already have it up. We saw before that we can. Actually, no. I'm thinking of something else. We didn't talk about this yet. You can actually find the length of a list. So in this case, this is the length of this list down here. And if you count them up real quick, there's six values inside the list. So when we run this here, it's just going to print the number 6, which is pretty cool. So if you ever want to know like how many values are in a list, maybe you have like a list that's like many, 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 many lines long. It's super long or something like that. You can just find out how long it is. Like maybe it's like a list of messages or something, and you want to find out how many messages this user has sent. You can just quickly do that, and that's a pretty cool way of doing things. Another cool thing you can do with lists, let's see here. Let's see if I can't go all the way back. I'm just undoing all of my changes. Okay, there we go. All right, so just going back to this list right here, because I think it's a pretty good one to use, the Catholic League Blue Schools. Maybe we want to figure out, just pretend real quick that this is a very long list. I mean, we're talking like hundreds and hundreds of values or something like that. Very difficult to keep track of. 5 is okay for this example. What if we want to figure out whether or not something is inside of this list, and we can't tell just by looking at it because it's too long or something? We can just go in here and say print, and I'm going to use parentheses to simplify it. And I'm just going to say, we want to know if Mount Carmel is in the Catholic League Blue list. So all we have to do is type in MC, in quotes, because that's what we're looking for, in schools. And it's basically, again, Python is so close to English sometimes, it's crazy. Print out whether or not, or like basically the answer to if MC is in the list of schools. In this case, the list of Catholic League Blue Schools. Pretty powerful stuff. And if we run this, it's going to return a true for us. Now, if we were looking up something else, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a school that's So many schools to choose from. It's difficult. Um, let's go with De La Salle. So I'm just going to use like DE to signify De La Salle, which we know isn't Catholic League Blue. But I run this, it's going to give us false because it checks this array real quick and it determines that it's not in schools, not in the array. So it just gives us back a Boolean false, which is pretty cool. All right. So one more thing that we want to cover in this chapter. There's so much you can do with lists. There's a lot of other different cool functions to talk about, but didn't want to overload you guys in this chapter. But one more thing, something we learned in the last chapter with loops. We talked about the range variable. So we did something like for I in range, 20, something like this. What if we wanted to loop out something like an array? Like maybe we wanted to loop out all of these teams on the screen or something like that. It's very easy. I mean, you use the same method as the range because the range, as you know, is a temporary list. Why not just use a real list? So for school in schools, and then we just say print school, just like that. Now, why school? Why is that able to be there? Maybe is it just taking this one and knocking off the S? No, not necessarily. That's what we chose to do, but this could be really any variable we want. It's just a simple placeholder to use in this for loop and in this for loop only to basically, like every time this loops through, it just sets this school equal to the next value in the array. So when we print this out here, it's going to print out all of them in a row. And you can kind of match that up in your head how that works. But like, let's say like I went down here and I tried to like print. If I just printed school, this is gonna give me a bit of, oh well. I'm sorry. Python 3 would give you a little bit of a problem with this, but here all that's going to happen is it's just going to print out the last known variable. I'm thinking about definitely in JavaScript it'll do that. Like it'll give you an error since this isn't a global variable. It would be a local one. But here it's basically just going to be giving you the last value in this array. So like whatever got printed out last, that's what it's going to be using. All right, so that's it for this video. I'll see you guys next time in the Chapter 7 tutorials. Good luck.